We're talking about innovation. We've heard about various aspects of facility management. Innovation is something that we're introducing as a subject for the first time. Now, first of all, the important thing is, why are we innovating in facilities management? Is it compliance driven? Is it need based? We've come out of a very major pandemic, and the way we address workplaces have changed significantly. Is it because of that? So let me ask my panelists first to talk about why innovation. What are the innovations that you're looking at today?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't think it is expected it has to be a roar after lunch, right? Good afternoon, everyone. Great. I think, no, the intention was to just make sure that you're awake and we also are heard clearly. Thank you, Jayashree ma'am. I believe, first of all, getting stuck with so much of experience is always a bit of a punishment to speak. But then at the same time, you also take away a lot of learning. So I just want, first of all of you to please put your hands together for a great session Dr. Major Anand has done. I believe not that cybersecurity has been a preference for everyone, but it has become a more necessity. And I think this should be the takeaway, because you are just waiting. You are just one step away for that disaster to happen. And I come back to our session of innovation. I think the first thing when we want to talk about any specific subject, I think we need to understand the meaning. When we say innovation, it's just not about creating new things. Innovation is a wholesome understanding of what you want to do, why you want to do, exactly how important it is to do, and is it part of that sort of an understanding. So I take 4 C's, part of that innovation. First is the context. I think facility management is evolving last 2 or 2.5 or 3 decades, which I'm in, and I've seen this myself. But at the same time, it has not been changing leaps and bounds in terms of how retail has changed, how the e-commerce has changed. But facility is having a very few taker, and sincere takers are pretty few, in fact. So the context has to be very clear in terms of innovation. You are a supplier, you are a service provider, or you are a service provider to your own organization. You need to understand, you need to bring in that context of, that innovation is required. The next part is the capability. I believe, apart from the context, there's someone who is understanding and, just imagining the technology, the change and innovation should have that capability to drive that change, to drive that innovation. And at the same time, the third C is the culture. I have seen a lot of organizations, they've been successfully for over 50 years, 30 years of history. And when you talk about, digitizing their operations, they feel that we are doing okay. Why you want to change us? I think this has changed in the last over 3-4 years, and especially after a pandemic, because you are slapped to sort of, change, and you sort of, you're getting awake that, oh, without this also it is possible. So the culture of adopting those innovation has to be more important. And last but not the least in this is the collaboration. I believe any innovation is as successful as everyone adopts it with that sincerity and ownership. So that's something we to do with the innovation. We move on technology, I think we bring in that subject later.
That's right. Parvez, you want to go ahead?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think Shakti has, as I mentioned, that the FM world is continuously evolving. But the role of technology is also critical and crucial in making the facilities management more effective and efficient. Then the question arises why one should go for the technology, why we go for the innovation. The thing is that what it is bringing on the table for FM people, that is more important. So when we talk about what is bringing on the table, it is bringing more efficiency in the system. It is bringing the cost effectiveness in the system. It is helping in making a decision more effectively. And that's a reason I think that technology plays a very crucial role when it's come to the facilities management.
Okay. Pinny, when you talk about technology and innovation, one of the things that I started with, why are we innovating today? Is it because of the cost parameters? Is it because of compliances? What is the role of compliances? And also, do clients push you to innovate in terms of getting better security, better services, and so on.
Thanks, Jayashree. I'm going to flip the coin. I know, generally, you did tell us a lot about cyber security safety, but we can't run away from technology. Technology is here to stay. It's evolving the way we are working, it's evolving the way we humans are, basically. And I don't think that, we should run away from it. The IoTs, the AIs of the world are created to enhance productivity. And as we look at it, yes, you have to have your parameters of safety, security, wellness, health. But at the same time, what are the benefits of it? We are efficient, we are having seamless processes, we are able to adequately support our customers and our clients with our data backing us and supporting us with what's coming for the future. So I really think it's a world of innovation and technology moving forward, and not just as a word, that, yeah, it's a cost. Of course, everything comes at a price. There is a price to be paid for it. But at the same time, I think the benefits far outdo the price points. Yeah.
Ashutosh, when you talk about today, what is all this technology doing? It's giving us better and finer, more granular data, right? With this kind of data, how are the operational efficiencies going up? And also, how are we complying to an increasingly globalizing world where the standards are, the bars are very high?
Thank you, ma'am, for the question. First of all, one question to the audience here. How many of you are terrified with the term AI? Okay, I will make it a bit more soft. How many of you think that AI will be replacing a lot of human opportunities in times to come? Great. Ma'am, now to your question here. Let us say if I am a new person amongst all of you who has to go through a lot of documents, a lot of compliances to put my head together to jot down the points that, okay, if this is a facility, that first if I have to create and then manage, these are the parameters that I should be matching. One way to do it is to go through all the content that is out there, or sit with someone who is experienced and spend, if not days, maybe few hours at least. Or the other way around is, okay, that might be terrifying at times, that feed all the document to an algorithm and then get the output. And it so happens that that algorithm might provide you with the output of, let's say, 10 pages. Then you ask the same algorithm to do it and provide it to you in 10 lines, and it will do that.
Right.
And why would someone use it? And should we keep up with this space? Is much like, would we like to sit in a room with only lamps and no tube lights? No, that we won't, right? So for the same reason, yes, innovation is very much critical, and to cope up with the global standards, there are tools that needs to be adapted, because developing them from scratch would take a lot of resources. And then we will have to become proficient at using them to our benefits.
Okay.
So, ma'am, yeah.
Yeah.
So you spoke about data heavy, what you
Yeah.
call technology, which is actually giving a lot of inputs to the end user.
Yeah.
The most important part in this now, the most of the organization, the recent the changes which happen due to technology is that the boardroom discussion is not limited only to taking a new space and only deciding about how to utilize the space better. The new boardroom discussion is on what is your digital policy, how you want to implement it, And what are the data analytical actually? That is very critical. So are you developing a team who can actually analyze the data? The amount of data you're receiving from all this thing is a huge. So if you're not able to analyze and do the analytical survey of those data, you will not be able to get a better output. And that's the reason it plays very important role that the amount of data we're getting it should be analyzed with expert people, and there is a need for creating that team and now in the recent world where you should have the team who is capable of analyzing the data. Like Sir has mentioned in the previous discussion, the security is a concern, right? Wherever we are using Internet of the Things. Similarly, now the technologies are also helping to improve on the security part also. But again, it depends that kind of data which is giving, the input it is sending to you, output it is sending to you. Are you analyzing that particular inputs or not for the right purpose? If you are analyzing, your team are analyzing the data, then definitely you will be able to get a better result. And similarly, you need to develop the people also, or in the organization, your team also, that who can be able to use that data and work in a better way.
Right. When we, in the morning, we had a session where a survey revealed that 30 was the division. 30% wanted to work in offices, 30% wanted to work hybrid, and another 30% wanted to work from home. And many organizations allow it. When you do this, your need for technology to synchronize all these different categories of workers is very high. Shakti, would you like to talk about the challenges there and how it's being done?
I think when we say technology challenges, I feel now it's been almost 1.5 decades, people have been talking about evolving and technology here. To me now, I think FM is flooded with so many solutions, and it is becoming difficult for the stake owners to decide exactly what really is meant for them and how practically they can implement. I think the biggest challenge, as I say, the first thing which I spoke about is the context. Like, when you really want to say that you want to go for one solution on, let's say, sitting arrangement, or maybe the occupancy, maybe, in terms of the business building management system, or something else, which comes, I think you're very, very diluted in terms of what you get exactly, until unless someone sits with you, understands the requirement, and then offers that customized solution. I'm not sure, people, how much of that AI we've been talking about, but how many of sitting here have used AI in our day-to-day work? I think it could not, maybe 5% of them, or not even those many. The reason is, we are not sure about those things. We are not sure about that how this is impacting exactly to the core, to my solution, to my requirement. I take an example of washroom. You will, every airport you go place, you find a 1-hour checklist. Someone comes and checks it, finds it. There's a person who is deployed about auditing that checklist. All that. I'm not sure if you've seen some solution available here, which is doing everything in itself with technology. Also, having sensors to decide if the traffic was more, it's supposed to be with 500 people. Now you have 7,000 or 1,000 people have used it. It will double the overall, the chemical, the wash, the frequency, the room freshener, or anything and everything. You talk about deployment of the manpower, especially how it is designed on weekends or specific hours, then on the weekdays on specific hours. So all this is, when you go granularly, there's a huge advantage in terms of how we want to do. But I think the challenge is people need to invest more time to decide what solution is required for them. And then, of course, everyone need to adopt about what change they want to bring in.
Okay. Ashutosh, you want to talk about the distributed workforce and the use of technology?
Yes, definitely, ma'am. The hybrid mode of work that happened, it happened quite rapidly. Let's talk about the conference table that all of us see in our meeting rooms. Okay, so that conference table did not evolve, right? We still either have the chairs around it, and if half of it got unoccupied, everyone had to fit in one screen. So that is something that we are working with, but there is an innovation that is required there, isn't it? So yes, this had been somewhat at a very fast pace. So I think everyone will agree with me that there are quite a lot of innovation that's required there. And similarly, if we go into more detail, because think in terms of the way we monitor our team members. The meeting that was supposed to be there for around 45 minutes, and the tools that were designed for being used at a length of about 45 minutes, now they are being adapted in certain way, but again, there is room for innovation there. So that there can be a better monitoring facility, a better interacting environment, provided we would like to continue working in a hybrid mode.
Yeah.
So that's my point.
Okay. Pinny, when you talk about the new workforce, a meeting room is not just a conference room with chairs around it, like he said. There's so much more to it. There is, with people plugging in from everywhere, and also the kind of work that's happening, the collaboration that's happening. What kind of changes have you noticed in terms of the very design of workspaces, as well as designing it for a collaborative work?
So again, we come, Jayashree, to the point of what is the use of technology and what is the investment each organization is making in that kind of technology. So of course, the high-tech companies, the Googles and the Microsofts, IBMs of the world would invest in having these conference rooms really enhanced with screens across. And one of the designs, have an oval kind of screens put across, so you can have more people participate on Teams or Zoom and get into, and give it a feeling that you're right there, though you're still virtual. But the world is going to change again. Technology changes every 6 months. And are we able to really keep up with that new technology and new costs and the expenses? They're really high. Very few organizations will be able to pick that price tag, as I say. So what else is it? How do we make it efficient and create those spaces? So I feel, technology supports us as facility managers to look ahead, look at the future, give the business a plan, how things can be, looking at your space requirements. And with your sensors, you know exactly how many people are using it, what is the conference room occupancy, how we can change and define the space versus saying that this technology is not working or that technology is working.
Right.
So I think a more broader and open mind approach would help us plan our facilities and facilitate. And this has a ripple effect on how our facilities will be managed, because it will be on how many people are coming in that day, what are the services that are required, and how we'll manage our customers and clients together.
Right.
So I think technology is going to rule the world, as I always say. And I'm an ardent fan of technology. And the other thing is that let's not run away from it. Let's find solutions. There's a very nice, I was reading it to Ashutosh of Google's experience. For last 3 years, they've been trying to see, they used the AI to monitor their data center chilling units. And look at the impact, it's 40% reduction in cost, which is like huge.
Yeah.
And so companies are looking for that. They're looking for decrease in cost, increase in efficiencies, not only from energy, but from overall our management processes. How can we manage better? How can we be more efficient? And how can the process be seamless?
That's right. Parvez, I'm going to ask you to take over from where she left off. When you're talking about deployment of technologies, two critical things that she pointed out. One is how quickly they can become obsolescent. And the second, that how do you tackle that obsolescence of technology or integrate it into your future plans? The second point is that when you deploy technology, there is also a cost saving, right? 40% cost saving is a huge thing. So at the time of looking at deploying new technologies, you also have to have a short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan, how you go ahead with it.
Okay, to answer your first question, I think as you clearly mentioned that technology is evolving and it's changing very rapidly, which actually is what is happening around is first you have to identify what exactly your organization needs are. What is your objective? What you want to achieve by using the technology? That is more important rather than jumping in from one technology to another technology. So you have to identify your KPI, key performance indicator, that what you're looking for, what kind of output and input you will give it, and what output you receive it. So that is first part, which is very important, that, okay, technology will keep on changing, but the end result is what my organization needed from this technology. See, because technology comes with a cost. It is not that, okay, tomorrow some new technology will come and you want to jump at it. There are a lot of factors. Other factors also is the integration with the existing system. So if your technology, whatever your technology you are taking for your organization, whether it is good enough to integrate with your existing system or not, that is equally important whenever you are thinking of going for any technology. And what was the second part?
How you the data that you're getting out of it, how you will be, what cost savings can it?
See, data, like if I give you example, like as I mentioned in my earlier also, that data analyzing is very important. Then only it will give you a cost saving. See, you will getting a huge data when it's come by using the technology also. You have to see that like how effectively you can use a space. Like if in case of office, if half of team members are working on a hybrid mode and half of them are working from home or what you call it, only 20% of the manpower is coming to the office. You have to analyze the data that, okay, what exactly is the best solution for you? How much money you need to spend for developing that particular space, whether it's required or not. So it is actually helping you in taking a better decision.
Shakti, how important is it to have the workforces also aligned to this technology-driven organization?
So I think a workforce is ultimately the crux of what we do every day here. But first thing, I would also complete where he left in terms of the kind of challenges. When you are investing in technology, it is not about cost always, and it is always not about cost saving as well. I believe, that's the mindset we'll have to go out first thing, because the data collection, the data is a major support in terms of deciding us as leaders in terms of where the investment can be. So two things is, first is about changing or increasing the life cycle of the assets we are using. And the second part is also having relevant data to decide where we want to reach to. Yes, there is a after effect, and which is an automatic thing which happens in terms of the efficiency when you are using the data in a proper way. So that's something which is very clear, and people should take it from here as a takeaway. When it comes to workforce influences, I believe it's not about creating the fleet of people here. Irrespective of the volume, the biggest portfolios you are managing, anyone I've seen people with 50 million square feet and about 100 million square feet. It's not about that 1,000 people working for you or 15,000 people working for you. I think, are we future-proof in terms of how we are growing? And when it comes to the technology as well, whatever we are buying or we're implementing has to be future-proof. And something someone just mentioned is about things are changing every 3 months and 6 months. So that future-proof part is very important when we are doing that investment part. We are having, today with so many companies are coming up and startups which are into developing softwares and all those things. You're not sure about their future after 6 months, where will they be? So that's another concern people have before investments. So all those things, when they are covered about future-proof, technology is implementable, upgradable, and they can all just make sure that they see that organization at least next 10 years. This is not always about cost efficiency, but it is about the overall value for money or creating value of whatever we are spending. All that factor has to be thought in a different way. And that's what will bring in, that's what will make you take an ownership of as a leader to take an ownership to sort of implement any change or lead any change in the organization, or be an ambassador of a facility fraternity in a boardroom to sort of advocate that why you want these investments.
We are about 5 minutes away from end, and I'm going to pick up a couple of issues that we have. Today, the employee health is very important and employee mental health is very important. Ashutosh, how does deployment of technology, accessing the data, does it help you in any way to manage employee safety?
Ma'am, few days ago, I was reading an article by writer of the book *Sapiens*, who made a statement that people know. Okay, I will make it a bit soft, because people are no more individuals with a lot of morals. Of course, it is his statements, values, and then emotions. The free will, that is somewhat subjective now.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I am starting at that point is because, why is it subjective? Because since we are interacting so much with devices,
Yeah.
okay, there are very few who would have got an analog watch in their hand, and okay, everyone must have at least one phone.
Yeah.
So the reason why we are confident that health of our team members can be first monitored and then controlled and then improved, because someone is already doing it.
Right.
It is just that some people know it, some people do not know it.
Right.
So, and when we are talking about having our members in a hybrid mode, and when we are we are in hybrid mode, and at the same time we are also monitoring them. In a way, we have the data that we have,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you can really see it and understand that if there is a change in pattern of the efficiency, it is because of certain reasons.
Yeah.
Of course, and
address it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there is a possibility.
Okay. Pinny, another big elephant in the room is climate change. Climate is something that's going to impact every one of us, and as facility managers, it's of critical concern. So, all the deployment of technology, how significant is the climate orientation towards that?
Yeah, so Jayashree, to your point of health and wellness, I mean, it all ties in at the end. We've had employees come in and say, what is the temperature in the office today? What is the air quality today versus what's outside? And how am I sure I'm going to be healthy and productive? Now, it's $1 million question, because we actually tie ourselves into everything. From the transport to pick up the employee, make sure the safety of that employee till he or she reaches the office, and then everything else. And that's where, again, I go back to technology. How do we tie that whole experience, ensure that it's safe and healthy and the employee feels well? You know, I've had questions, my car temperature was absolutely terrible, and I'm going to fall sick because the office temperature, as per your reading, is showing me 22. And so now how do you say that that's okay? So I think it's a fine line for all of us to work with. And I think some of these tools and methods really help us to ensure that we can give that safe environment and ensure they're healthy. And also the food.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. Transport and food, I always say, are the big, sore points for us in facilities, because that's what everybody's looking at. So how are we planning that, how they can order it, how, they're comfortable with it. And of course, climate change, we can't do much. What we should be doing is ensuring our facilities are abiding with all, of course, the laws, plus more, and individually how we are contributing to it.
Okay. Parvez, look into the future and say, in the immediate future, where do you see the new technology shift?
Okay. See, the technology is actually, as I mentioned it, and initially also is evolving. Okay. Augmented reality is something which is now, which is the talk of the town now. Most of the people are now going with augmented reality, artificial intelligence. What augmented reality do is that it help you in identifying the gaps which you have in your facilities. And it actually can plan the things in a better way. So definitely artificial intelligence, augmented reality, these are the things which are the future of what you call technology in the field of facilities management.
Okay. Shakti, a last.
I would like to add
You had
on.
very
Oh,
short.
that's fine. Maybe we'll take another
Yeah,
30
yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
So I think just not about AI is of course it's talk of the town. We have document management, something which we can start and making sure is best of use. Work management. I think work management is the biggest thing in terms of how we can bring in the technological inputs and digitize and automate things around. Of course, collaborations and communications to across the business. I was just writing down these things. Cyber security. I think we had about 25 minutes precious session in terms of how technology can really help. And facility management team has to be really very, very aware about it. You talk about data analytics. I'm sure this is something which you need to deeper in terms of how we can utilize that database, that understanding in terms of taking decisions in future, in terms of investments, what we're doing. Then it comes to the IoT part. Then it comes to the robotic changes, especially when it comes to facility management. I think there is a lot we can do with robotic systems. I'm not sure like how much of you have started using it. So these are some of the segments, but how technology has changed us, what are the benefits we have to, so far we can just go around and they're very, very substantially visible benefits, you can say. Today, we are not sort of tied to a location. So technology has changed this. Now you're working from home, some of them are working from even conference room today. So location is no more a problem now. When you have storage is a bigger responsibility used to be initially. Now it is all cloud and you can hire some servers and across. You have absolute clear compliance also, except that in the RBI compliance, which is asking you to store things in India, but otherwise it'll be at the top-notch compliances. We talk about teamwork, how the teamwork have changed now. You don't need to be behind on back of your team every time. I think it is technology which is changing in terms of how team is becoming effective. You have communication. I think communication was not always about speaking in front of everyone, but it is how effective we have taken in terms of the meetings, Zoom meetings, reviews, interviews, conference rooms, even team huddles, ideating sessions. So far, last 3 years has really changed in terms of how technology have evolved. When it comes to the organizational changes, like, I'm not sure. There are organizations which have stopped their offices. They've surrendered their almost about 50% footprints. So people have changed in terms of how they're using it. Of course, productivity. And I think there was always a sense in terms of understanding that if you don't follow up and you are like a boss, keeping it tight, then only the productivity enhances. I think that sort of a thinking have changed drastically in last about, they've been smashed out last at least about 3 years. We know people have become more efficient, lighter, in terms of how you are even retaining those people. And it comes from security, of course, how it just changed in terms of, facial recognition. It is about biometrics or maybe retina thing. Anything and everything has become so clear in terms of how technology has changed and helped us. Profitability, of course, and efficiency of the work. So everything has been touched, changed, and evolved in terms of how we have adopted technology, or what is the portion of technology we have adopted. So that's something which possibly for you to take up, and that's what I have here to conclude with.
And that's a wrap now. Technology, there's plenty. Innovation, there's lots that's happened, a lot more waiting to happen. And change, very rapid change, is in the pipeline again. COVID was probably only the beginning of the rapidity of change. But thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you.